All right, hello everybody. My name is wilbun84. I'm going to be doing a speedrun of Pseudoregalia for you today. This is going to be the 100% out of bounds category on the full gold patch of the game, and I will let the couch introduce themselves.
All right, hello everybody. I am Jaxler. You might have saw me earlier here for Seafrog. I actually ran this game at AGDQ 2024, and this game has come so far since my run. So I hope you all are excited for this, because this is about to be crazy.
All right, I am Vaen. I've been an on and off grinder for this game for a few months now, a bit later to the party than I think all of these folks, but I am super excited to be here. I think Wilbun's gonna absolutely destroy this game. The hundo route, like Jaxler says, comes so far, and I'm so excited to see it come into fruition here.
And I'm LaurieDBunnykins. I played this game on the Trans Day of Visibility special, and my 100% PB is 0.4 seconds slower than Vaen's.
All right, we're going to get started on an empty save file here. If we can get a countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! All right, Pseudoregalia. So this is a 3D Metroidvania platformer where our main goal is to find 5 major keys hidden within this open world that will unlock the door to the final boss. Now, this being the 100% category, we're also going to be looking for 3 minor keys, 16 health pieces, and 22 ability upgrades before we finish the game. The first of which we're going to grab right now. This is called Dreambreaker. It's just our main weapon for the run. And as we head to our next upgrade, I'm going to do a bit of a movement tech explanation right now, just because things are going to start to go fast. So there is an upgrade in this game called Solar Wind. And it allows us to do 2 very important things for any run in this game. One is to launch ourselves at a really high speed, and the other is to do a really high backflip we like to call an ultra hop. Now, I will be doing what's called a Solar Wind late route, which means that I will be getting Solar Wind at the end of the run versus the beginning. But we're still going to want some way to do those 2 movement techs, and thankfully we can do them with the next ability we're going to get called Slide, albeit in a much more difficult fashion. So with Slide, we can do something called a Slide Cancel, and that is just pressing jump about halfway through the slide animation, which cancels the slide but preserves the speed of it, and we can chain that into other movements. So for example, I can do 2 slide cancels into a jump, and this will launch myself forward at a really high speed. So essentially giving us the same kind of movement option that Solar Wind would usually give us, but we're just able to do it a lot earlier in the game. So we're going to see it right here once I grab Slide. And again, this is going to be 2 slide cancels into a jump. There we go. So that's that. We like to call these glide hops. And you can see after I perform it, I can kind of maintain my speed by continuing to bunny hop around. Now, the other movement tech I mentioned, the backflip, we can also do that with Slide by doing a slide cancel into a gainer, which is a forward moving backflip. And so that's going to be our 2 main methods of getting around in this game. The inputs for both of these, it's the frame window for doing the 3 inputs to do both of those movements is pretty tight. It's not frame perfect, but it is frame dependent, meaning that if I get those inputs really well, you'll see a golden trail behind Sybil, which means I've done them perfectly, and I'll be getting the top speed and top height from those moves respectively. But if I do my inputs a little bit slower or a little bit faster, I'll be getting a slower launch rate and less height.
All right, so we just picked up Ascendant Light here. If you've ever played this game before, we are not even remotely supposed to be here yet. The game normally intends for you to go through Dilapidated Dungeon in order to take care of a mini-boss called Strong Eyes, and then go into Castle Sansa the normal way. Instead, what we did is we went through a secret exit that's behind a breakable wall and navigated through the dark to go into Underbelly, and then Underbelly is going to allow us to route through into Empty Bailey, and then we can go access the rest of the world map. So this also conveniently puts us right near Ascendant Light and this heart piece, which are normally really far out of the way in terms of hundo routing. So really, really convenient for us as well here.
And we're just heading to our next main upgrade in a bit. So we do have some time for donations, if we have any.
Oh, of course we do. We also have a very special donation of $25 from Killing Pepsi.
Yeah!
Killing Pepsi would like to say, I am extremely happy whenever I get the chance to watch a pseudo run at a marathon. When I say that this has been my favorite experience running a game in the last 15 plus years, it is no joke. Both visually and to play it fills me with immense joy. Hoping you don't get the Oops All Orbs special, and excited to see you and your stacked as heck couch show off the coolest route I think this game has to offer. Also, if you don't equip the suit, there will be some problems. Are we equipping that suit? Is that our plan?
Well, we do have an incentive. About 7 minutes into the run, we'll be getting a costume. So if we've met the incentive before, anytime really before the game ends, we can switch to the professional costume, which makes us look much cooler and makes us go way faster.
Big shout outs to KP, by the way. Such a sick runner of this game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're a huge reason why this run exists in the first place. Them pushing their other routes down in this category is the reason why I had to find so much weird out-of-bounds stuff to basically keep up with them. So yeah, shout out to KP.
Yeah, so we're at Tower Remains right now. So Laurie, do you want to explain why we're here?
Speaking of the routes, we're going to talk about, the slide obviously has proved its importance already. We're going to talk about the other most important upgrade in this run, and that's going to be the Cling Gem. The Cling Gem is like a wall ride ability that pretty much lets you go, is the main factor in letting us go out of bounds in a lot of points during this run. So we usually want to get it as early as possible, but in order to get there early, we have to do this very difficult tower climb section with very little upgrades, so...
Yeah, and Wilbun also likes to do this strat right here, which is just the worst angle of all human history ever.
Yeah, you need a full gold ultra.
We might try the other angle if you don't like it, you know?
Yeah.
Let's try the other one. No! Okay, we haven't fallen yet.
I cannot emphasize enough how hard this is. Like this.
Yeah.
This is my least favorite part of the game. It's just, a lot of really specific ultras, and if you do fail any of them, we do have to do the section over again. So let's. Oh
no! You got the backflip of doom.
No.
It's worth noting as well that this tower. It's worth noting as well that this tower climb sequence that we're doing in this specific way is actually not possible on the most recent patch of the game, because some of the geometry was changed here, as well as the way that some of these like ultra hops and like slide movement work. So as a result, like that's a big reason why there is a category split between Full Gold Patch, which is the release patch that we're playing, and the map patch, as it's called, which added a map and some other cool stuff. So,
just trying to get my inputs in. All of the inputs I'm doing for the ultra are same as other movements. So if I'm messing up those inputs,
there we go, nice.
I will be doing. Thank you. If you ever see me do like a weird jump or just stand still for a second, it's because my inputs weren't perfect.
Yep.
We'll be going for a bit of a backup here.
Yep, so what we're looking to do here is there's normally kind of like a puzzle a bit here, and you're intended to have an upgrade called Sunsetter, which we will be getting later, but we're gonna go ahead and make our way back. That backup is really rough.
Yeah.
So what we're looking for here is to use this railing right here and ultra up here, get the ledge grab skip there, nice, and then we're gonna get the wall cling and make our way out of here. So we grab Cling Gem, we're gonna open up the bit for later, and then we're gonna make our way out of here and head back to Castle Sansa. So I think while we're making our way back to Castle Sansa, we probably have time for 1 or 2 donations.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would love to give you 1 or 2 donations. We have $25 from Kai, who says, Pseudoregalia rules forever. Can't wait for this run. You don't have to wait. We also have $25 from Miasma, who says, Quaggy, where'd you go, little buddy? Where did he go? Can we raise just $9,000 more to find out? Actually, it's less than $9,000 now. I'm already out of date. Please?
The people need Froggy.
The people need him.
So bad. I need him. Emotionally, I need him. Anyway,
we're going to see some Cling Clips coming up soon. The way Cling Clips work, this is going to be our main method of getting out of bounds and why we grabbed Cling so early. But basically, if there is a 90-degree angle that's created by an object and that object is next to a wall, we can cling the wall away from the object, and Sybil, our main character here, her legs will stick through the object, and the game gets confused as to what side of the wall we are on because half of our body is just sticking through the geometry. And so sometimes it'll let us just pop through the geometry. So that's our main method of getting out of bounds. Unfortunately, it doesn't help us get back in bounds, so we'll be using something else called T-Tech, which is going to be tabbing the game in and out of windowed mode, which induces just enough lag to let us literally phase through walls. And we're going to see the first clean clip coming up in just a second here.
Yeah, Vaen, you want to talk about it?
Yep. So we are heading into the Listus library. It's a really cool section. There's a bit of a cool, short but sweet section of the game here. We're going to be picking up one of the more important abilities of this route, the Sun Greaves. We're going to make our way up this bookcase here, do another Ultra off into the hole here, and we're going to break open this glass. The Sun Greaves are going to allow us to do 3 air kicks. You can think of them just essentially just kind of like wall jumps, things like that. They're going to be really useful for not only gaining height, but you can also extend your air time a bit by just kicking in the air. We're going to see the first clink.
Nice.
First try, very nice. And that's going to take us back to just the beginning of the library so we can just clean up the rest of the pickups we have here.
And speaking of first try clips, I will be donating $10 for every clean clip and bonk clip we get first try during this run. So
yeah, feel free if you want to match us. I'm also hitting that up as well. So if you want to you don't have to match us on the 10, but if you want to match us for every first try clip that we get, feel free. We gotta get that Big the Cat instead of Matt.
All right, so already seeing here, gonna go 1, 2, 3 all the way up here. Gonna break this wall into this little platforming section. We can just taking a little fall here, no worries. We can just again use Sun Greaves over here to back that up. 1, 2, 3, going up here and grabbing this health piece over in the nest. Got just 1 or 2 more things here. I'm losing track. It's going so fast.
Yeah, this game goes by fast. And something I'll mention about the glide hops and ultra hops is because I'm getting different speeds and different heights from them all the time, I'm having to adjust where I jump and where I do a lot of my movement. So it's something that keeps this run really interesting, but also really challenging.
100%. All right, so we are going to be heading on our way to our next really important area here.
Ooh, let's try that again.
Into the goop you go.
Yeah, thankfully there's a weird checkpoint there for some reason. So
yeah. So taking a small little left turn here, we're going to be grabbing one of these green orbs up on here. The green orbs, with the exception of 1 green orb that we're going to be getting later with a
yeah, I guess that works too. We'll see a couple more orbs. So yeah, we can do the orb chance.
Yeah, most of them are going to be not super useful to us. Like that one we just grab Pilgrimage, it just lets us move very slowly while we heal. But there is one that is going to be pretty nice for us later. But we still need to grab them because it is 100%. We got to get all of the thingy-mabobs.
Yeah, and because we got through here quickly enough, we call them the Slappy Boys. They were actually out of the way, so they're on a moving cycle. And then we're going to look for a ridiculous ultra right there. Nicely done.
That was a lot of coyote on that.
Yeah, that was interesting. We're heading up to our really first big out-of-bounds section. I'm going to grab a save point pretty much as possible now because every out-of-bounds section after this has the ability to soft lock us. And we're going to see a bunch of clips here to skip a large platforming section. So here we go, our first clip through this wall.
So there's 2 first try.
We're going to schmoove our way out of this.
That's another first try.
T-Tech out of bounds. Now we are fully out of bounds. We're going to slide against that wall to grab a respawn checkpoint. We're going to cling this wall out of bounds, jump down to this area. Going to T-Tech back inside. We're going to avoid a little respawn checkpoint that's on the left there. We're going to do another cling clip against this hay bale and then T-Tech fully into this room.
Oh, you got robbed. That's tragic.
That's a little unfortunate. We'll get to try it again here.
Well, you set your checkpoint.
Yeah, the checkpoint is set. Ooh, yeah, baby. There we go.
Do those backup wall clips count towards the total? You have wall clings. You're good. No!
You messed me up with it. I started thinking about how much money I'm going to donate.
I don't think the backups should count. We already did that clip.
Yeah.
But if you at home want to make it count, we're not going to stop you.
True, yeah.
We have an incentive to meet.
We do have a big incentive to meet.
We're just going to ask for some quiet time here while wilbun sets this up, because there's something we're doing right there as well as something called wall cling regrabs, where if you wall cling into a 90-degree corner, it will allow you to regrab the same wall you just did the wall run off of. And as a result, you can use that to gain height in a corner and make the most out of your resources. You get 6 wall clings per airtime before you touch back on solid ground, so...
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. We're not out of the woods yet. We got to clip back out here.
Clean clip. I'm going to use the keyboard for this and then jump over. That was first try as well. We're back inbounds, and we're going to use this little dark goo here to respawn.
Perfect.
back.
Nice. Now we can clap. Yeah.
And that's our one useful green orb.
Now is another great time for
one
some
of two.
donations. If we have
Yeah,
any.
probably one donation right here.
Sure thing.
Whoops.
I've got $50 for you from Escalated. Let's show Big the Cat the love he deserves.
Yeah.
Do you have time for one more?
Yeah,
big
go for
one? Because here is $250.
Wow.
As so much thank you for your generosity from Kiwi Komodo, who says, I think that might have been a cat.
Yes.
Perhaps.
My cat would have loved that donation.
So a couple of things that we're seeing here. For one, we're doing a little bit of a tech called kick cancels, where if we do an air kick, we can use our attack in order to disable the hitbox that would cause us to wall bounce, and we can actually use that to make use of the wall kick as more of like that jump extender without accidentally bonking off of something. So.
And then we got one more health piece, and then we're heading to our next big out-of-bounds section. So I'm going to save again. In this out-of-bounds section, we are doing to avoid a trigger for a mini-boss fight that we'd usually have to do, as well as a large platforming section to get our next major key. They're both going to use the same clip, so let's hit a save point here. And let's do a little ultra.
Yeah, I'm going to ask everybody to hold their applause until we get out of the room with the next major key, if that's all right.
Yeah.
You got this.
So that 90-degree angle thing, it also works for 45-degree angles, and it also works upside down. So that's one clip. We're going to jump up here. We're avoiding the trigger now, and we're going to use T-Tech to just warp back inside, grab Strike Break, and then we're going to do that clip one more time to get the next major key.
Yeah, that's the easy part, by the way.
Yeah, it really is.
There we go.
Okay.
Got a tricky ultra here. Something that can happen here is if my ultra is touching one of the out-of-bounds walls, which we're kind of sandwiched in between them right now, it'll kind of pause our animations and we can't do anything. So it's a little tricky to not hit the out-of-bounds walls. There we go.
So we got up. That's good.
Go back
There we
this
go.
way. We're going to do a glide hop to an ultra. I'm going to jump over here just
Yeah,
as
good
a
idea.
safety. We're trying to get to this window to do another clean clip and then T-Tech back inside. We're going to grab our major key here, and we have one final clip out of this room.
This is
I
incredible.
wanted that so bad.
I know.
That looks
Check
good.
it
That
out.
looks
It's
good.
still really good.
That looks.
That was really nice.
Yeah.
I know that clip looked like the easiest part of that whole sequence.
It's the hardest.
It's the hardest. It's like the hardest clip in the run.
But this is also a good moment to bring up version differences. I believe we brought up how some of the movement tech changed between this version and the most recent version, but the first two major keys we picked up also have checkpoints right next to them that make their strats harder, if not impossible. So that's
first try
another
there.
nice first try there, yeah.
We're going to T-Tech back inside here. We're grabbing Sunsetter. You guys want to explain how that works?
Yeah, I can explain that. So Sunsetter is a pogo down into a high jump, but it also has another unique property to it that we'll see in some sparing cases where if we attempt to do a ground pound mid-air
First
and then
try.
hit LT and back, nicely done, we can do this like mini backflip. And this can actually, in a similar way to wall cling regrabs, allow us to get a little bit of extra height and then do another wall cling on that same wall. And so that means we have just another aerial resource at our disposal to absolutely crush the next place we're going to, which is by far the scariest part of any Pseudoregalia category, which is the theater. Vaen, I know you love theater, so you take it away.
Big theater fan. So real quick, right before going in there, we're gonna come up here into this little weird room. I don't know.
Probably have time for one more donation before we get into theater here.
One quick one.
too.
Sure thing. Here's $50 for you from Likeable, who says goat mom. I mean goat mom. Goat mom?
Yep.
You're so
The
good for that.
allegations.
All right, so Heading into Twilight Theater, like I said, it's just going to be a big movement gauntlet. We're going to see a lot of moving pieces here. First off, we're going to use Sunsetter to get a certain amount of height on this door frame to clip out. And to that, we're going to get into this corner here, and we're going to try and glide hop. With the glide hop, see, we're going to clip out of bounds. We are now into this whole out of bounds area, which almost looks like it's just intended level design with how it's laid out, but it's not really, but it's so sick. Here we have the main ability in theater that we're going to try and clip into here. This one's a bit finicky to get. Just gonna get in.
There we go.
Like
nice.
And T-Tech fully back inside there.
Very nicely done. That skips a whole backtracking sequence we have to do later. Like that sequence saves like entire minutes from.
Which for how short this game is crazy.
Yeah. So that's gonna let us do like a little projectile ability. We'll only see it used like really once, but we'll worry about that later. We're gonna bonk clip using the gate out of there. And once again, just we're in this whole kind of checkerboard area. I love how this area looks with the lighting. But anyways, we're gonna make a huge ultra across this gap here. Gonna make our way back up, sort of to one of the couple of main areas of theater where we have the major key sitting. The major key is guarded by a big cage that has to be opened by hitting 3 of these switches here. First one is going to be here. We're going to go back, hit this little respawn. That's going to help us later. When we're grabbing something, we're going to go over to the next switch on the side. Both of these we're just going to be clipping into the gate like this.
Yeah, this is actually another version difference, like what Laurie was talking about, where they actually moved those gates back further into the wall so you can't perform the cling clip because players were soft locking on it by accident. So there we go.
All the switches here, and we're gonna pop back out to go grab this health piece that's over in this small box corridor here. Then we're gonna come back in and claim our hard-earned prize of the major key. That was
really clean. Well done.
We're
not even done.
Yeah, we're not even done.
Yeah, we have a couple more things to clean up here. We're going to use this one small key we picked up earlier. We're going to pick up a little green orb that's in this side room right here. One ultra up here.
Watch out for those guys.
The sword
orb. Yeah.
Gonna come up here for this health piece. This is the best seat in the house for the theater.
There we go.
On this pillar.
Best seat in the house, worst leg grab trigger in the game.
Yeah, this game's, as you can tell, the game's geometry is a little finicky sometimes, so there's a lot of spots in the game where you should be able to ledge grab and you just don't. Here's the easiest clip in the game. You can just T-tech right through the ceiling.
Yep.
You can literally do that with something called F10.
Yeah.
All right, so coming into the kind of first main room of theater, I guess kind of just depends on where you enter. You can enter these areas from other areas. Like there's so many entrances. We're gonna grab aerial finesse orb and that death trigger we touched earlier, or that respawn trigger we touched earlier. We're gonna respawn back there, and now we get to leave theater.
Yeah, we're finally out, and we're into a kind of personal favorite skip coming up soon. There's this upper portion of Castle Sansa, which is kind of the closest thing. The kind of closest thing this game has to a main hub. This upper part is pretty disconnected though, so there's going to be a really cool trick to get back down once we're done here. With that being said, while we're still up here, if you have anything for us, Pippi, that would be amazing.
I am so glad you asked because we have just passed $28,000 for adding Big the Cat, and we do want that to be met. We need that met before our Sonic Adventure runners are up next. So please, everyone, if you would like Big the Cat, I would also love Big the Cat. And we're so close. We're less than $7,000 away, and that is being met. Thank you to all of the help from the donors at home. Here is $10 from Adam the Feverish, who says, big ups to Pseudoregalia. The movement in that game is so cool and perfect for speedrunning.
Absolutely.
Have to agree.
Can we check in on the incentive for this game as well?
Just give me one moment with that and we'll get you an
Copy
update.
that.
All right, so we got the green. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying in the meantime, I want to look at pretty Pseudoregalia movement. So please, take it away.
Clip
so we got the clip right there, and this is going to allow... We're going to go grab a safety save here because we have a really scary revisit into Dilapidated Dungeon, that first area of the game. So we're going to grab this save crystal. You could just go straight to the DD loading zone, but we're not going to worry about that right now.
I'm also not going to forget the health piece.
Yeah, please don't.
Because I definitely forgot that in practice. But
and I don't think any of us noticed.
Yeah, no, we were all like,
did not.
100%. Okay, sick. So we have a bit of a tricky out-of-bounds section coming up here. If you remember the bonk clip from theater where we had the door force us into the floor. We're gonna. Wow. Okay.
That was horrifying.
I've never seen that before.
I've never seen that either. GDQ first. Bad loading times. We're gonna do a reverse spawn clip.
You got that one first try?
That's a crazy first
That's
try.
really hard.
That is, maybe the most impressive first try possible.
But we're gonna do a reverse spawn clip where we have the door force us into the ceiling. We're gonna need Soul Cutter to send a beam over to the switch. But first we're gonna grab this health piece that's hidden behind a cling puzzle. Again, this is the first area of the game, but now we can grab a few more items because we are more geared up. I'm gonna use the slow-mo when I grab this health piece to set up an angle. Hit this switch. And then we're gonna hit it again while standing on the door. And pop out of bounds just like that.
Very nice.
Now we are out of bounds as we head to the final upgrade, or final orb of this section.
Yeah, we're gonna look for something here called a ceiling skate, where on top of like surfaces that kind of act like things you can T-tech through,
Nice.
You can ride the ceiling of it just like that, and so that's gonna allow us to skip some of the platforming there. Nicely done. That was giving you a lot of trouble in practice, so it's not always entirely under your control because it is frame rate dependent, but
Yeah. There you go.
all right.
We also,
that's
very
making me
notably,
happy.
if you remember this tunnel from the beginning of the screen, or from the beginning of the run, rather, we skipped the trigger that usually makes it dark in here. So it's just kind of not dark in here.
It's really weird. All right, we've got probably my favorite out of bounds section in the entire run now, which is martial prowess. So martial prowess is not our last green orb, but another important one. We're gonna start with a cling clip to get out of bounds here,
Whoop.
and then we're going to be doing a combination of some really tight ultra movement in order to. I think you get
gonna make
there.
it? Yeah,
you
nice.
do. So that's gonna allow us to get over to this platform right here. And then we can T-tech to get back in bounds. This is just to get us to a better spot.
Setting a respawn point by that door as well.
Yeah, and we're gonna cling clip, do a quick cling on that pillar, wall kick off of it, T-tech through the ceiling to grab martial prowess, and then we skirt right around a checkpoint trigger that they made just too small, and that lets us get in and out of there without having to do any of that parkour. That's really hard, and wilbun just made it look really easy. Extremely well done.
That is such a cool part of the run.
I love that part so much.
We just have one more section before we head to the boss fight. We're finally going to be grabbing Solar Wind, which I mentioned at the beginning of the game. This is going to replace our Glide Hop and our Ultra Hop with the Solar Wind version. And we do have time probably for another donation here.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Here's $100 for you from Courtney Rail. Thank you so much. Who says, I love the look and feel of Pseudoregalia. And Sybil is such a great character. Killing it, Wilbun. But come on, peeps. We need to get Big the Cat added to SA too. I know that most people probably don't read the comics, but his side story in the Robot Zombie arc actually made me cry, and we just need to give Big some love. I haven't read the comics, but that sounds wonderful. Do you have time for one more very quick one?
Go for it.
Here's $50 from Burke, who says, Big the Cat, Big the Cat, Big the Cat. Thank you so much, everyone.
So something we've seen it a little bit already. We're seeing something called, with that backflip that I mentioned earlier with Sunsetter, you can actually get a wall cling regrab out of it if you do that backflip and then the regrab. I think I mentioned it earlier, but it really makes this section here a lot easier. It's a big reason why we saved this section till the very end, because it allows us to, instead of having to go all the way around the backside of Empty Bailey, we can start with the bridge, get everything we need, end with Solar Wind, and then Death Warp to get back to here. And this takes us back into Tower Remains. So we have everything we need for 100% other than the final major key, which is going to be at the top of Tower Remains. So we do have one more skip that we're going to go for. Luckily, we don't have to do that nonsense where we're climbing up the tower because we opened the door on the way out. But after that, there's normally a section where the game intends for us to find a lever hidden behind a bunch of wall run platforms. It's a way for the game to teach us how to wall run. But obviously, we know how to do that because we're busting this game wide open, right? So what we're gonna do is we're going to use Solar Wind to set up an Ultra Hop and catch that cylindrical feature on the ceiling just like that. I was a little low, but you got there just fine. We grab the pole just like that. We're gonna grab this major key, and now we're about to head into the final boss here. And Laurie, I know you love this boss.
Yeah,
so.
love is a great word to describe that. That's totally accurate. But this boss in this category, because of all of our upgrades, is pretty fast. I would say we're like just maybe over 30 seconds away from time as a heads up, because it's as soon as the boss dies, which can be a bit tricky to react to sometimes. Because again, this fight in this category goes by fast. The princess has 6 different attacks she can pull. Some of them are these like magic projectiles, and some of them are these slashes. Oh. The main goal of the fight is that she's just going to teleport around a lot, and we need to catch up to her. Usually we like her to do some of these slashing attacks that put her closer to the ground.
That was great.
That was so we like to call that move the truth nuke, because it sends around this projectile that will deal 2 bits of damage to you, and in like any percent, for example, you only have 3 health pieces. That's the halfway point. We want to try to be at full soul meter for the double damage bonus from Indig, but Princess is being kind of rude to us here, but time is coming up soon. It's going to be on that final hit as soon as Princess starts to disappear, so get ready on time while we enjoy this banger here.
Dodge the Beyblade.
All right, get ready. Time. Woo. Nicely done. Nicely done.
Super sick.
Oh my gosh.
I think final time's a little funky because of some timer issues, but I'm curious to see what your IGT will be after this.
Yeah, well, thanks so much, everybody, for watching. I really appreciate it. This is my first time at GDQ. It's my first time doing a run like at any event, so I just want to shout out the GDQ team for having me. I really, really appreciate it. I also want to shout out the tech team. This game, like we mentioned, is on an older patch, and it requires like really specific Windows, not Windows 10 Pro, but Windows 10 Home. And we literally had to rip a computer from the public practice space and bring it up here. So they were amazing. Thank you so much for getting that figured out for me. And I think you guys got anything?
Yeah, you can find me at twitch.tv/Jaxler1. I want to shout out some people from the community. Again, I want to shout out Killing Pepsi. I want to shout out Yoshichi as well, who put in a lot of work into the 100% route in the early days as well. And just anyone in the Pseudoregalia Discord, if you want to come join our community, there's a bajillion good YouTube resources, and a good place to find them is our community Discord. Go to speedrun.com/Pseudoregalia. There's a Discord link there. Come join us. We want you to come play this game with us.
All right, I've been Vaen. You can find me twitch.tv/Vaen_SR and on Blue Sky at VaenSR. Like Jaxler said, please join the community. From what Wilbun said, it might not seem like the most accessible thing, but I promise it's a lot easier to troubleshoot things like that on your own setup. It is a very accessible game to get into. We have a lot of resources on how to do all the movement and whatnot. I very highly recommend. This game's also super cheap.
It's like $5 or $6.
It's $6.
I think it's $1 off with the Steam sale right now, too.
Yeah, so $5. So please pick this game up. That's all I got.
I think the last shout out I want to make that we haven't yet is to Ritzler, because this game I believe is entirely a solo dev.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much entirely a solo dev.
Except for the music.
Except for the music.
Which is amazing.
It's just so great to just like see a game like this that's just so much fun to play, and like the speedrun channels for this game are in their server, so like to see the support for it as well is awesome. And yeah, this game, again, it looks hard, but it's incredibly rewarding. Please pick it up if it interests you.
I have a bunch of tutorials on my YouTube channel. It's just wilbun84, so if you guys want to get into this game, there's a bunch of good stuff on there, as well as just hit us up in the Discord, and well, yeah, we'll help you guys out. So I think that's all from us. Thank you so much for watching, everybody.
Thanks for having us, everybody.
We'll see you later.
Enjoy Sonic Adventure.
Yeah.